What's good, y'all? It's your boy Warvis Paradox, Mr. Jewin, aka Dots Brando, your voice of the locals. And can can I talk? Can I speak on Arizona hip hop for a second? Can I talk about Arizona music scene in general real quick? Cause I think Arizona music is in such a great place right now amongst the artists, the talent that's coming out, right? But before I start to talk about now, let me talk about the first person to make me a believe in Arizona music. There was an artist that I found back in 2018 on Twitter who was a local, and he was somebody that was skilled and somebody that created a song that it really spoke to me. It really meant something to me. It showed me that he was genuine. It showed me that he was authentic to the craft. He took the work in, he took the time and put in the work. And that artist is the artist formerly known as Jalopy Bungus. And Jalopy Bungus was the first artist that I truly wanted to listen to his music. I'm talking about a full mixtape. That was the first time I really went out of my way to use SoundCloud like that. You know what I mean? And he's somebody that I kept track of. You know, we become associates, if you will, on a multitude of platforms, and it's always been good vibes. And it's always someone that like we can converse and just talk about music on the side, you know. And that's kind of like one of those first points what makes me want to be where I am now with trying to highlight what we have here, because there's so much talent and it's so great. It's so great. But the Arizona hip hop scene in particular has some flaws that is stirring the pot and is making it difficult. You know what I mean? And multitude of those things comes down to some simple things. You know, it comes from people being biased. It comes from people just gassing their friends, and we have echo chambers going around and people not truly tapped in. These are the main points that I want to get at. And bias and gassing friends go hand in hand. We have a lot of people that are, a lot of platforms, a lot of media that are not really doing their due diligence. In all honesty, they're only picking and choosing who they want to support, who they want to talk about. And of course, it's your platform. You can, but you can't say that you're going over all of Phoenix hip hop if you're not truly tapping in to what all is Arizona hip hop here. Unless you're disrespecting the people that you're not talking about and don't think they're Arizona hip hop, when a lot of them that are blowing up now, who are going on participating in tours and opening up for artists who are, you know, getting like shoulder to shoulder with mainstream artists, you know what I mean? These are the people that you're not talking about, that you could be highlighting how great the expansion and the notoriety of Arizona artists getting, but you're not. Then we have them just gassing their friends. You know, look, it's all great that you want to support your friends, but I have a few critiques of that. Number one, if you are going to support your friend, it's not um it's not an issue to be honest and be critical of their work. If they're not doing their due diligence, then don't gas them, don't promote them like they're major, because you're doing a disservice to them and yourself, because they're not going to live up to the expectation that you're laying down the foundation of to the mass audience. If they know better and they check them out and they see that your friend is not that, bro, you about to get your friend shitted on for what? For what? And then even if they do have some talent and they're not moving correctly, they're not promoting their art as well, and you're doing all that work instead of just covering the immense amount of talent that is in Arizona, that's also an issue. And then we have echo chambers. Let me get back to that. We have people just like bouncing around and calling themselves great or saying they're doing certain things, and no one in that space is saying, hey, maybe you should be doing this, you know, maybe you should making your music more accessible to the mass audience, maybe you should actually have music out and not just live off of Instagram reels, you know. How are people going to support you and the talent if you're not, letting it be accessible? How can we believe that you are artists when it feels like all you do is content create? You don't push your music forward as you should. You know what I mean? I, I'm just saying I'm just talking about what I'm seeing, what I'm seeing. So if this a hit dog gonna holler, if you feel like I'm talking about you, then that's on you. And now we're getting into another thing that's been going on, and then it's beef. It's beef, bro. What's going on? Why am I seeing somebody shitting on Philly Nico and just like talking about the top 10 worst rappers in Arizona? It's just Philly Nico and then like 3 like ways to call him a bitch or some shit on there, bro. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? What the fuck is the purpose? What are we doing? And it just sucks because Arizona got so much good. It has so much greatness within, and it's nothing but bitching and bickering and hating ass niggas going around like they top dog. Cut it the fuck out. I said this in my Stocks with Dogs video about Sam X, and it feels like with Arizona hip hop, especially in Arizona, it already feels like you have to blow up before somebody gives you your flowers. And instead of that, why are we not joining as a community? Why are we not building each other up, building each other's platforms to let people know, yeah, Arizona is like that. This is this artist you check out. This artist, he's hard, she dope. You know what I mean? It's not that difficult. Well, it is kind of difficult because doing the right thing is supposed to be hard. That's what makes it meaningful. That's what makes it genuine. That's what makes it tough, something that can last. I want to be part of a legacy of being part of Arizona media. That's what my platform is. It's about not just the movie reviews and stuff like that, or just talking about mainstream art. I purposely have talked about local underground artists from here and everywhere else, but I always put Arizona first. And that is an intentional bias. But it's not bias per se that like I think Arizona artists are the best. No, but I put in the initiative to talk about Arizona because I know that I got a reach that not like other people have. Because I got people all across that be asking about what's going on in Arizona. What's the music scene like? What's the art scene like? What's this? What's that? And I'm doing that. I'm the one putting that work in for myself, for me to be credible. You know what I mean? And if you're not trying to be credible, then I think you should be stepping away from these microphones and you should be deleting your pages because you're not doing your due diligence and you're not doing the people a proper service. Please cut it out. There's too much talent. We got artists. This is how I know some of y'all are not tapping and not at doing what you're doing and just bullshitting, right? Y'all talking about all these little like smaller artists. That's good. You're talking about certain people that you want to bring up. I get that. But what about the artists that have been putting in the work? The rappers that are talented, the ones that are not rapping over backtracks, the ones that get the crowd going, all that. Like, this is how I know you're on bullshit, because only a few, and I've been paying attention, only a few of y'all have even mentioned artists like Sam X. I don't think any of y'all have talked about Tim Jules. You know what I mean? Like, y'all, like Cream just dropped a crazy 20 plus track album, and I don't hear a whisper from none of y'all. But y'all supposed to be Arizona hip hop media, right? Y'all supposed to be tapped in. Last year, y'all didn't talk about my boy Xavier Shaw, who dropped a great project, and I get it, he's a model, stuff like that, but he's rapper first and anything. That everything else is aside. He takes this seriously, and he put out a phenomenal project. Even though y'all want to try to shit on him, and even though I think sometimes he's a bit brash and abrasive, Philly Nico is a talented rapper. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I get it. Like, on paper, I want to say something because of how abrasive and upfront he is about especially about how he's passionate and sometimes how he moves. Like, I can see why that can rub somebody the wrong way. But talent is talent. I listened to that project. I'm like, damn. There's only one song where I'm like, eh. Other than that, that was on my end of the year list last year. Talent cannot be denied. Hard work cannot be denied. Passion cannot be denied. And these are artists that y'all not talking about. Now, shout out to my white boy Kenny Hilton. I know he's not no lyrical miracle artist, but he's somebody that puts the time and work in and tries his best to be great in his particular lane. Like, Don't Cry right now is probably my favorite project out from Arizona, next to Cream's Vagabond. Honestly, those are my top two local projects of the year so far. And both of them are not getting talked about by y'all. By y'all. So what's the deal here? We have artists that actually drop music. We got artists that actually perform live. Instead, y'all over there just tugging y'all shit and just gassing y'all homeboys and y'all homegirls or whatever, bro. Hey, man, that's cool, whatever, but that's not gonna get Arizona hip hop to where it needs to be. Y'all need to be broader in your scope. Y'all need to be at these shows where you can see for yourself how great they are, number one, and you need to be supporting them by listening to the music. You need to listen to the fucking music. And if you're not, then what's the point here? What is the point? And I'll be honest, there's only one source that I trust that's not myself. Honestly, there's only one source, and that's with Charisma Collective. That's what Charisma Collective, and particularly, it's about my good friend Juno. Juno is the most trusted person in Arizona hip hop media and Arizona music media, period. Do you know why? Endless credibility. She's gone through all these mainstream artists, gotten a chance to interview. She's been in these rooms and she's bringing those talents and skills and her interview style all back to Arizona, and she's been expanding in her own lane media wise. And I love that. Juno doesn't just talk about her friends, even though artists like Ronnie DeJean and we got OK Tay, Mr. Wyoming, and all of them, right? There's a whole bunch of artists that she's around and she supports them and she talks about them, but she also critiques them as they should be critiqued to help them become better. She's not just blowing smoke up their ass. So if you're not doing that for your friend, if you're not trying to be honest with them for they can get better and not have be just stuck in a lane and just be like, not crack that ceiling to get them to greatness, fine, whatever. Hey, if you're okay with your friend just being okay and don't want to guide them to greatness, you're interesting. It's interesting to call yourself a friend. Very interesting. But I digress. Arizona hip hop and Arizona music, the Arizona music scene in general, is, we're in a very great space. And I talked about those hip hop artists, but like music wise, you know, with Plato, with, you know, Chloe Tang, with Jade, I can go on and on. Belgium Tree. There's so much going on in Arizona music, and y'all not doing justice to these artists. Y'all not propping up who you need to be propping up, and you're not going to the spaces and learning. Y'all suck. A lot of y'all suck. And you just have a couple of followers. If that's what you think that makes you credible, that's not enough. It's never going to be enough. Do better if you truly want to prop up and make Arizona grow. Can we do that? Can we do that? Can we all do that? Because that's what I want to do. So if you want to know what's going on, if you want to build community, if you want to get this stronger, let me know. Let me know. Holla at your boy. It's the one and only Warvis Paradox, aka Dogs Brando, Mr. Jewin, voice of the locals, tapped in now. And if you're not, then that's a problem and you need to get right or get left. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. If there's some artists that you think have not been talked about that they need to be spoken on, drop them in the comments, start spreading the word. Share this for everybody, you know, so we can grow the channel, get better. Because if I get better, you get better, and we're great. Yes, sir. All right. Peace.